Hello everybody, I have something really cool today. Something from a subscriber who I hope is watching this right now because I have a question. And something that, if you know who Byron Katie is, something that she started years ago that is actually based on some rules that I'm going to share with you that could really change how you talk to people, how you shift, and if you go into judgment and negativity, because our whole relationship with one another needs to go into a space of compassion, working together, love, no conflict, no struggle, right? If we want to live in a world that is of peace, respect, it will transform everything if we work together. But here's what we want to talk about, because I'm doing a lot of videos, because you seem to like them, about the negativity, being a spiritual person, having family reject you, having friends reject you. It's craziness, isn't it? But a lot of times we don't realize what we're doing that actually contributes to that. This might help you. You ready? This is good. I think you're going to love it. Let's go. Mess up my polish. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through fears and live an amazing life. Somebody asked, are you vegan or vegetarian? Yes, I eat vegan probably 90% of the time. And then there are times when I go out and there might be eggs in something or something. I never eat meat, but there might be some ingredients in there that are vegetarian, okay? Once in a very great while, I might eat a piece of fish. I'm finding it really difficult to do that, but I live here in Florida, so once in a great while, I do that. Just being honest with you. And so obviously, the more you give up these things, the more you transform the world. I'm going to talk about today a formula that someone shared with me that made me realize that Byron Katie had gotten this formula from a philosopher from hundreds, thousands of years ago. Whoever gave me this comment, I couldn't find it again, so I'm not going to be accurate. First of all, whoever the philosopher is, sort of irrelevant, but I'd love to know the facts, stated that if someone comes to you, this is so important, I loved this. Thank you for sharing it with us. Someone comes to you and they're going to give you some information about another person, okay? And so you, as the receiver of this information that could really go into a negative space, judgment, gossip, all kinds of things, right? Even if you don't mean to gossip, when people share information with you that could be inaccurate, the whole world goes askew, right? And we're going to talk about how one thing leads to another, to another, to another. That's a whole video I'm going to do. Now, so somebody comes to you and they're going to share some information about so-and-so. You can stop them in their tracks and ask these three very cool questions. This is what the subscriber gave. The first one, is what you're about to share with me a fact? If the answer is no, then why would you want to hear it? Just like channels you may watch, conspiracy. You know, somebody shares this information with me, and if I ask them these three questions, they would have to say no. The second question is, if the person says, yes, it's a fact, the second question is, did you check those facts? Do you know for sure that this is a fact, or is it a fact according to whoever shared the information? Was somebody actually there to check that fact out? Were you a witness to something? And by the way, that fact could be skewed too, according to how we see the world. And then the third thing is this information going to be positive or helpful in some way? If the answer is no to any one of those questions, it is not information you should be listening to. It puts everything in a different reality that you don't want to shift into. Now, we talk about law of attraction. I tell you, I don't believe in law of attraction because it's used in a way that I don't believe is very beneficial to the people who are trying to create different realities. When you believe that you're having to attract something, you believe that it's separate from you and that you are actually not the creator, or that you're not the intelligence that's creating it, right? When you shift into a different reality, you're doing it with a thought, boom, you're over here. You just shift into a probability that exists right here for you. It's not something out there. It's not something you have to create, through a third party, or if somebody approves, or if the source decides you're good enough. The source doesn't judge anything. You're always creating your reality. You're just shifting into it. Now, there's always a series of events that happen. If you look at any story out there, whether it's some horrific thing that happened, or a murder, or some kind of thing, if you reverse engineer it, it's blatantly a result of a series of actions, thoughts, events, participation, all of it. It's not just some random thing. Somebody might say, well, I'm walking down the street and then I get mugged. If we pulled back and we looked at the series of events and the energy fields, thoughts, and entanglement, that I guarantee you, it's not a coincidence. All right? It may not seem very fair, but it's not a coincidence. We don't always have the answers or know the reasons why, but there's always a very good reason for you and purpose. And if you find that, you will shift into another reality where you become a master student. You master these lessons instead of going into anger and hatred and I'm a victim. Now, let's talk about those three questions. Byron Katie came up with 3. This is how she teaches. She's a lovely spiritual teacher. If you don't know who she is, you might want to look her up. I haven't seen her in years. I don't watch that stuff anyways, but she was amazing. She had 3 questions. So when you go into a negative space, and this is what I teach, is break through fear. Guys, this is free for you. Break through fear. What she says is this true? Now, I teach that everything is a story you're telling yourself. So whatever you're feeling is a story about the situation, or what might happen, or anything else out there, or a person. It's your story that creates the feelings and all the other things that come from it, the chain reaction of events, right? So she says, is this true? So let's say you have a thought and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be, broke, or so-and-so's going to leave me and I'll be alone. I've heard people tell me they're going to be alone the rest of their lives. I'm saying, trust me, it's not going to happen if you open yourself up. And the first question is this true? Well, a lot of people say, yes, I am going to be alone. And then you have to, the second question is, do you know for sure? Absolutely that's true. Well, no. I don't know for sure it's true. And then the third question she has is, if you didn't have that thought, how would you feel? Who would you be if you didn't have that thought? You might actually be at peace or happy or relaxed, right? Your emotions are what create the issues, the problems, the whatever it is. It's coming from you, okay? So I loved this question. Is this a fact? Is it true? So whether it's gossip coming to you, and obviously she knew about those questions because she adapted it to her own training and created something pretty cool from it. Is this true? I saw somebody made some comments about how I was successful online, that I got an inheritance and I had all kinds of money from an investment banker. I've never met this person before. I said, that's really interesting. So you took some information that you heard out there and created a story around it as to why I was able to do things easily more than other people. By the way, all of it was false. The information they got did not apply for what we were discussing at all. Didn't know a thing about me, didn't ask me, never saw my bank accounts. So we do this all the time. We make assumptions. This is huge, right? Think about this. This is huge. We make assumptions about other people and ourselves and our own lives. And it's not true. It's just not true. And who would you be if you didn't have that negative thought that's creating the stress and the anxiety? All right, so let's talk about spiritual people because we keep going back to that. We're separating ourselves. A lot of times we're creating a story that somehow we are different or better or advanced. And it's just not true. Because if it separates us and it's negative, it can't be true. Because the one is everything and beautiful and perfect. That means everybody out there who's not spiritual is lovely and beautiful and perfect. It's all an illusion, and that illusion alone is testing you, and you're creating a negative story. And that's the test. All right, so we do this all the time. So my question to you is, take anything out there and say, is that a fact? Take your thought. Is that a fact? Oh, so-and-so doesn't like me. Is that a fact? Do you know for sure? Did you ask them? Oh, maybe they're not even thinking about that. Have you ever done that? You're like, oh my gosh, so-and-so's thinking this and that. And then you ask them a question later on thinking, oh, they're upset with me or what. And they go, what are you talking about? They don't even remember the incident or whatever. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, I created this story. And then I got upset. And then I imposed these feelings on another person. And none of it was true. Change the story. Change the story. And a spiritual person, I said, it's actually separation to even name something. When we go into the other realms, we don't have names. We know who each other is. We just know it. We have an identity. We do have a signature energy field. And even that is still part of an illusion because the ultimate essence of us is just one thing. We don't have separation. And over there, you actually experience being everything and everyone, their feelings and everything. And so it's much easier to do what I'm teaching today, and Byron Katie and the philosophers, of the past. It's easier because when you're in touch with that, you immediately know the truth of how somebody really does feel, or if that is true or not, because you have all information. But because we don't hear, we create stories. It creates anxiety for you. It creates a negative future because you're creating at every moment with your thought. So you actually can create the very thing you don't want because you're focusing your attention on it. That's quantum physics. That's real stuff. That's not just woo-woo stuff anymore, right? Law of attraction, and that's where that came from. Now we know, wait a minute, we don't have to attract anything. Everything is connected. I don't have to attract something because I am the very thing that I'm trying to attract. So if I just focus on it, it will come in the form it's supposed to. Now again, there's a series of events, cause and effect, that has placed you exactly where you are right now. So if something doesn't show up because all of a sudden you decide this, but you haven't done the things on your journey that align you for that, the thoughts, the effort, the actions. We're in a material world. This is the beauty of it. The actions, the efforts that we have to make. I have to pick up and, if somebody dumps their plastic bottle, I have to go pick that up. Physically, I can't just sit there and say, oh, I live in a beautiful world. I have to create that world. And as a human being, we have to, maybe you'll give up meat. That's one of the biggest pollutants on the planet, and it creates amazing torture and pain for beautiful energy fields, entities, because we don't treat our food well. And what we do to them to bring that meat to the table is horrific. I always wonder if we could know how they feel and see what actually happens, would you eat the meat? But because we isolate ourselves, we have these stories and then facts that we create without being the witness there to know for sure if it's true. Oh, they aren't harmed. Do you know, have you stood in the factory farming? Did you see what happens? Do you hear what's happening in there with those animals? You don't want to hear it. Because if you did, you'd never eat meat again. So we have to start making decisions based on facts. Now, we have beliefs. Yes, we have opinions. But when we open ourselves up and say, I don't have all the answers, we become massively powerful because now you're not confining yourself to that one thought or belief and you're in your little box. You open the box and say, I have a belief, but it's possible that maybe I don't have all the facts, or that there's something else that I don't even understand. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to have the facts. So what's your story? So I teach my students, how you feeling? Oh, I'm not feeling good today. What's that story you're telling yourself? Well, what's happening? Well, they're doing this. I said, no. It's not about what they're doing. It's about the story you're creating about what they're doing. You're not getting what you want. You're fighting over material things or whatever. And it could be maybe arguing about fighting over your kids' custody, right? It could be all kinds of stuff. That's very serious stuff. But what's the story? Because you can resolve any issue and take exactly what the facts are. The facts, the real facts, the ones that you know for sure. So-and-so's angry at me. Okay, let's dig deeper. What's the cause and effect? What did I say? Maybe they created a story that's just not true. Maybe you said something that wasn't at all what they interpreted as. And so this is where spiritual people get in trouble, because they mean good things, but the other person's hearing, you're telling me I'm wrong and you're right, and that I'm not a good person and that you are, and that's what they're hearing. This is causing great separation. So we have to be on our game. We have to stop being spiritual and just be. Just be. Because I am that. I am. You guys, you can subscribe. My free videos. I have a 1-hour proven steps to manifest anything. How to break through fear. 1 hour. You have to watch it. And at the end, you get an opportunity to book a discovery call with me. I don't take everybody, but you can try to do that and see if you and I can work together. And also, you guys know that these are free videos. Oh, this is so cool. We got a great deal. The old deal's gone now. Those of you who've been on that list for creating an online business, old deal is gone. I said it would be. It's gone. New platform. Amazing. And so these are free webinars, like an hour and a half. You get to watch and find out how people are earning online, what they're creating. It's there for everyone. Use it for good and earn money. Again, there's nothing wrong with money. Flourish, be abundant, share. Be of great service to others. This is why you're here. Let's break down those barriers, thinking we have the facts. We know nothing. Not really. You don't have to. You are whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my perfect, amazing friend. Namaste.